So last week, Rec Room laid off about half of its staff, and then a couple days later, they have released this blog post talking about Rec Room finances and UGC revenue. I think meant to quell some of the concerns that people in the community have. So we're going to go through it. We're going to read it. I'm going to leave my comments, and then I'm curious to know what you guys think at the end of it. This was a hard week given the layoff. And I know layoffs like this create real worry for people who play Rec Room. I don't want that uncertainty hanging over the community, so I wanted to try to answer some questions I've been seeing come up. I said they're going to try and be more transparent, so I feel like it's a good start. Wondering if it does set some sort of a weird precedent to be like super transparent. I structured this as a FAQ based on what I've seen asked and been as candid and transparent as possible. Are we out of money? No, our balance sheet, i.e. cash in the bank, is actually pretty strong, but we were spending too much money. That's why we had to do the layoff. Our spending got out of sync with our revenue and our growth. We had a really big team and an even bigger vision, but we weren't hitting that vision. He kind of keeps bringing up this vision. I wish it was more clear on what that was exactly. I'm sure that they've said it previously. Maybe it's the massively UGC, whatever it was that they kept saying at RecCon. That's what I'm thinking. And we were spending a lot of money not hitting that vision. And in doing so, we were also frustrating a lot of you. If we had just kept going, we would have run out of money in the next couple of years. And with no money left, we would have had to lay everyone off. So it was just something they think was going to happen inevitably. So might as well get it done now and hopefully save some money maybe. I mean, it just depends. Again, what was that vision? And of course, AI is probably costing a lot. I wonder if that is part of the vision, because AI seems fairly new, like it just kind of came out of nowhere. Do you have runway/time? Yes, we've got several years of runway with the current team, current burn rate, and cash in the bank. But if nothing about the business changed or improved, our runway would probably carry us to 2029. That's really good to have had the foresight to, lay everybody off and kind of see the direction from this far away and then make the decision to do it. I mean, as from a business point of view, I think that's really good. And to have enough money left for 2029, that's a lot of runway. I know a lot of people, at least afterwards, like, oh, if the game gets shut down, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I kept trying to reiterate to everybody, like, if it were going to get shut down or something, it would be at least a year, if not longer. Layoffs suck. We did it so that we could give ourselves multiple years to go fix things and go build the right things. Our team is smaller, but it's still pretty large at over 100. I'm confident there's a lot we can build with the team in several years of runway. So at some point in the middle of the layoffs, somebody had said it was like 25 people who were laid off. And so in my mind, I like work backwards and I'm like, if it's like 25 people, that's 50%. I thought there were only like less than 50 people left, but over 100. I guess I never really have a good idea of how big Rec Room is. Do we have debt? No, we don't have any debt. That's kind of amazing, because the way that it seems to me with business is you get a company, you get an idea, you get investors, and then you get debt, and then you have to pay that. All the money comes to you first, you build the thing, and hopefully money comes later to like pay them back. So the fact that there is no debt, that's kind of something I've never seen before. Is UGC revenue growing? Yes, July was the highest it's ever been. It's growing about 70% year over year. This number, I don't know how accurate this number is, right? UGC is new, so of course it's going to grow, right? It's new. I mean, year over year, can you really say year over year? How long has it been that UGC's been out? Has it even been a year? That's just me being skeptical, because UGC does feel so new that, of course, a new thing is going to have growth, year over year if it's new. But I'm curious, 2-3 years down the road, what does it look like, Okay. Are creator earnings growing? Yes, we pay out more to creators in July than any previous month in our history, which kind of makes sense. July is summer, so there's a lot of kids at home paying for stuff. But I'm always so curious about how much people can make on Rec Room. It's one of those things that I'm constantly struggling with. Should I put all of my effort into doing something in game because it's possibly going to make some money or not? I think I've met like one person who said they were living off of Rec Room money, and then after awards changed or something like that, they couldn't like live on Rec Room money anymore. So if anybody in the comments, if you know anybody who makes a living off of Rec Room, or if you make money off of Rec Room, let me know in the comments, because I'm very curious to know, like, what's the actual realistic amount for what amount of effort can you make in Rec Room? If UGC revenue is growing, why the layoffs? First, it's important to note that UGC revenue has different economics than revenue from things we make. And as UGC revenue grows, it displaces revenue from things we make. When a player buys a UGC item, a significant portion of that money goes to the creator. That's the right thing to do. That is the right thing to do. Creators should be paid for their work, but it means lower margins for Rec Room. So that kind of makes sense, right? If somebody buys a UGC scarf versus a Rec Room scarf, you could say 100% goes to Rec Room if it's not UGC. To give you a concrete example, when we get $1 of revenue from an item we make, 70 cents gets to us because we pay the platforms 30%. When we get $1 of revenue from UGC, we only get about 30 cents because we pay the platforms and creators. So are you paying the creator then 40 cents on the dollar? Is that what I'm hearing here? I think so. Assuming 30 still goes to platforms. If 30 gets to you, then 40 gets to creators. The upside, UGC is more scalable. We can grow it faster without scaling our own cost. Trade-off, we need higher overall volume. Because we take home less from each dollar earned compared to when we were selling first party content. Okay. They need to sell more UGC items if they do rely on UGC items because they make so much less. Okay, that makes sense. So as UGC grows, and it is, our costs have adjusted to match. UGC revenue growth wasn't why we did the layoff. We were spending too much money before UGC revenue really started growing in April of this year, but its growth ate into what we were making and didn't help our overall spending problem. Okay, so they were spending too much, and even though they got new revenue, I guess you could say, from UGC, it ate into their own revenue of their own stuff. People started buying their stuff less. So ultimately, it didn't necessarily solve the problem. It almost kind of made a new one. Their spending problem was still there. It didn't solve that at all. All it did was take away from their kind of first party cosmetics. Did you have to do the layoff now, or could you have waited? Ultimately, there's no good way or time to do a layoff. Waiting wouldn't have made it better, though. We were going through money really fast. It was clear what we're doing wasn't sustainable. Most of our costs each month was salaries and benefits. Interesting. So I wonder how much do they lose by getting rid of those people? It seems like what they're kind of saying here, I could be wrong, is like, we've got the systems in place now. We can make the money that we were already making, and we can keep making that money. But most of our money was being lost on the people, unfortunately. So it kind of addresses their spending problem, right? In the fact that they had laid off people, which means they're spending less on people. I don't know. My brain keeps trying to throw AI in there and say they're spending too much on AI or something, but there's nowhere in here does that indicated. But my brain is like defaulting to it for some reason. I wanted to make sure that if we had to do a layoff, we could treat everyone with respect, providing strong severance and extended health care. You can't do that if you wait until money is almost gone. Acting earlier gave us the ability to take care of the people while still setting up Rec Room for years, not months of funding. I think it was the right choice given the options we had. I mean, it sounds like it. You know, how much worse would it have been if everybody got laid off and they didn't get any sort of severance or anything, which honestly, I have never in the 10 jobs that I've had in my life, maybe I've never had a job give me severance ever. Good on them for doing it. And imagine if they had let go all those people and then immediately closed down the entire studio or whatever. Like, unfortunate for the people, but good on them for having the foresight to know that. That's way more business savvy than anything I know of. So now what? I don't think we've been doing a good job communicating with our community over the past few years. We're going to try to fix that by talking to you more often and sharing more details. Maybe that's not a good idea. I suspect most startups wouldn't publicly announce how much runway they have. I hope that level of transparency helps you understand where the problems are and where they aren't. Yeah, so that was something I mentioned earlier. It's good you're being transparent, but I know as a company, there's like this weird kind of like, you don't want to tell people everything because some people can take that information and take advantage of it. And that's part of the Rec Room audience being who they are. I can see people doing that. But also it's this weird thing of like, once you set up a level of transparency, then there's an expectation of transparency, which makes it a little bit more complicated. But we'll just see where it goes. I'm glad that they're being this transparent. You know, everybody is kind of commenting like, oh my gosh, you know, the company is gonna die and blah blah blah, and for them to hear that concern and want to say out loud to everybody, hey, no, because they could very easily have been like, yeah, oh, we're struggling so bad, and then there's kind of like a big push from the community to like spend more money. They could have easily done that, but they didn't. So that's, again, good on them. Creator earnings are growing. We're paying out more to creators than ever before. That's good for you, even if it changes how we run business. Okay, that is true. We still have a lot of work to do. We need to improve in a lot of areas, and we know it. I believe that they are going to change something, but we really got to see what that change is. We've got the time to go improve. We made a really difficult and painful decision to get that time. It was hard to do, but we did it so we could give Rec Room years of runway to evolve. If people find this helpful, I'll try to share more content like this. There are always details I can't share, but we'll try to be more transparent and regular with our communications on financial topics, specifically UGC revenue. If there are other topics people want to hear about, let us know. Nick. I mean, like I said, good on him, man. Good on him for being transparent, for telling everybody all of these different things. Again, they could have sat down and been like, yes, let's take advantage of this outpouring from the community and try to get more money out of them, which they didn't do, which is really good. Again, what is this vision? What is this vision that they're talking about? Is it the massively UGC thing that they talked about? Because it seems like they're already kind of on their way to doing that. I'm very curious to see what they do. And I don't necessarily dislike the way that things were going. You know, they have the seasons now, which I had a video previously that I did where I said these are like the things that Rec Room is doing good. And I mentioned doing seasons like in Rocket League, and now they've done that. And giving people cosmetics that they can earn by spending time in game or doing challenges or whatever. That's, I think, what people want to be motivated to get back in the game. Let me know what you guys feel about all of this in the comments. I mean, I'm curious to know, like I said, if people have made money in Rec Room, how much, if it's sustainable, what is it from?